My voice is audible, guys. Can anyone please confirm?
Yeah, yes,
Am I audible, guys? Now I'm clear.
yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, now it's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. So what I was telling is that we discussed about what is performance testing, and then we started discussing about type of performance test that we usually perform. Okay. So first of all, we should have a basic understanding. Okay. Different types of test. What are all the test of type of test that we are doing, and then the activities that we are performing. In that, if you look at it, yesterday we discussed about load test. Okay, test the application with expected user load. And I also mentioned one interview question. If it is a brand new application, how will you do, or how will you understand the expected user load calculation? So in that case only we discussed we need to have a call with the stakeholder and other people, and then we have to come to that conclusion. Okay, that is a question usually people will ask. So if it is a brand new application, what will you do? If it is existing application, what will you do, like that? So existing application, not a problem. Anyways, you are going to use monitoring tools. Using the monitoring tool, you are going to calculate or understand how many user, how many session, what transaction, what load, like that. We can understand it if it is an existing application. For brand new application only, you need to have a call with the stakeholder, business analyst, architect, somebody from the customer team. With all these people, we are going to discuss, and then we are going to do some assumption. Okay, this is what my expected user load, like that. We are going to do some assumption. That is what we discussed in the yesterday session. Okay, so actually now in the recent times, people are talking about something called peak load test. Peak load test. Okay, peak load test. Okay, earlier we usually mention one test, which is load test, but now people are also mentioning one more type of test called peak load test. What is the peak load test? Anybody heard about peak load test before in this forum? Anybody? Or you can give a random answer also, like what may be we call that as peak load test.
That is a maximum amount of users accessing the application during the business hours. Okay.
Very good. So peak load test is nothing but example. Our application is actually getting a huge number of user during Monday time, during Friday time, or on a particular day alone we are getting more user count, means that is actually the peak load. For that load condition, if you are testing, that is actually called as peak load test. Okay, so maybe each organization they are using different terms and terminology. uh, certain organization they are saying like holiday season test, holiday season test, or certain organization they are saying peak load test, certain organization they are saying seasonal volume test. Like that, each organization they are using a different terms and terminology, but end of the day the objective is, instead of testing a normal load condition or usual load condition, we wanted to test with kind of a peak load condition. The same application we are receiving on so and so day, we are receiving high load condition, means for that high load condition, if you are doing performance testing, that is actually peak load test. Usually Monday I'm getting more volume, or Friday I'm getting more volume, like that. There are a particular situation or the day. Sorry. Yeah, particular day or a week in which you are getting more user load, right? For that load condition, if you are testing, that is actually called as peak load test. Okay. So example, if you are this load test itself, if you are considering X load condition, X load, expected user is actually X load, so and so user load, and then duration would be 1 hour usually. Duration 1 hour. This is the criteria you follow for your load test condition. Okay, X load condition and duration is actually 1 hour. Duration is actually 1 hour. Okay, for the load test condition you are using this. Peak load also you will say like a peak load condition, and then 1 hour. So this is the criteria. Because why I am covering this, at least you have to have an idea during interview. If somebody is asking how did you perform load test, how did you perform peak load test, like that, if somebody is asking, you need to tell them X load condition, and we will run the test for 1 hour, and for that 1 hour of test we will prepare the report and share it to the stakeholder. That is a criteria, right? That is a criteria. So load test means this is what we will do. Peak load test is this is what we will do, like that. You need to explain to them. Any question, guys, till now?
So, peak load test means it's like a big billion sale on Amazon.
Exactly, exactly. Black Friday, Good Friday, Big
Okay.
Billion Sale, New Year. Uh, uh, on a particular day, you are going to uh, calculate your load, or you are going to use that number as your peak load test criteria itself. Okay, that is actually the peak load condition. Spike testing is different. Okay, spike testing is not coming under this criteria. That is different. But peak load test is nothing but for a peak load scenario. I mean, my application on a particular day, I am going to get 10,000 user, means I am going to prepare for that condition before even going to the production. I am going to test my application for that 10,000 user load. That is actually peak load condition. Clear, guys? Any question?
Can we correlate with the stress testing?
I'm going to tell that stress testing next. Then you will understand it. What is stress testing? Okay, but this is not stress
So,
testing. This is
so
not
peak
stress
load
testing.
testing, peak load testing varies from application to application, right? So some applications might have 10,000 users, some applications might be used with the 1 lakh users, right?
No, any test that you are doing is actually going to be varied based on the application to application. Retail-based application usually will have more volume of users. Accordingly, other application will have little less number of user kind of. Okay, but this peak load condition is like regularly I will get 100 user only, but on Black Friday alone I'll get 5,000 user. That is the one such scenario only you are getting more user. Other days and all you are getting only 100 user. So you are going to test for 100 user load condition means that is a load test. You are going to test the 5,000 user load condition means that is a peak load test. So you are preparing yourself for both the cases, a normal load and also a peak load. That is the understanding. Clear? Yeah. So somebody started asking question. Maybe I missed it or what? Chandana or Anish, you started asking, right?
Yeah, I had a similar question. Like, how was it different from stress test?
Okay, I'll explain that. Right after this explanation is actually stress test only. But stress testing. Okay, I'll straight away start with stress testing. Stress testing by definition. Okay, stress testing. Test the application to check the breaking point. Breaking point. This is the keyword. Here I told you expected user load is a keyword, right? Similarly, whenever you are talking about stress test, you are going to do a
Sarvana,
breaking.
one thing. Usually, we do stress testing to identify the performance degradation point, right?
Both are same only, right? Like
No,
performance
no, no.
degradation, I'll tell you.
In 1 second, let me complete. Breakpoint test, that is different, na? In breakpoint test, we are breaking the application. Okay. So usually in stress test, like where our performance, like where the response times are deteriorated, so that we conclude as stress test, right?
Yeah, that is what I'm about to say, the completion of this definition. So
Okay.
right now, nobody is actually breaking the system. In the recent times, nobody is actually breaking the system. Nobody is interested to break the system. Because of that, what people are doing nowadays, they are testing with X user, 2X user, 3X user. That's all. With that 3X user, they are checking like their application is actually working good or working bad. So at that point itself, you will definitely get a pattern of your application, like how it is actually started degrading or how it is actually working with that 3X user load condition. So by definition, stress testing is nothing but checking the breaking point of the system. That was traditional, some 10 years, 15 years before and all. We usually test, we will increase, and then at a point where it is actually breaking the system, till that level and all, we usually test it those days. But now nobody is actually interested to crash the system, or since because this cloud concepts and other things are comes into picture, it is not that easily you will break it because of the scaling system, because of certain other factor, it will still up and running. So that is the reason, since we are saying like it is a stress testing, but we test it with X user, 2X user, 3X user. Till that level we test it and we certify the application is actually working good or working bad. That is what we are doing it right now, Praveen. Clear?
Yeah, sir. Clear.
Yeah. So stress testing, but the keyword is actually a breaking point, but we are only doing it for X, 2X, 3X. Okay. For that load condition, we will test it and duration would be 1 hour only. We test the application for 1 hour with these different load condition. With that itself, you will understand your application is actually working good or working bad. But those days it was static infrastructure, on-prem infrastructure, data center, and that time a single node in which you are running the system, or if you are increasing the load, certain times your system will crash. That was some 5 year, 10 year before story. But now nobody is actually interested to crash the system and all. But they wanted to say at what point you are doing good or doing bad by increasing this load condition to X, 2X, 3X. Chandana, you are clear with what is stress testing now, right? I mean, that's the difference between peak load and stress testing.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. So usually, uh, okay, I'll logically complete other definitions also, and then I'll come back to this point. Okay. So stress testing means you are checking the breaking point like that I told you, right? There is one more test called endurance test or soak test. Endurance test or soak test. Okay. That is the next type of test. What is that endurance test or soak test? Test the application. Test the application for a longer period of time. Longer period of time to check the memory leak. Okay, to check the memory leak. So this type of test, what we are doing, we are going to test our application for a longer period of time. We are going to test our application for
Hello. We are not.
guys, am I audible now?
Oh, you're audible.
Yeah, yeah. So this memory pattern you wanted to understand, it means you have to run the test for longer period of time. Okay. So earlier, whatever the test type that I mentioned is actually 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. Who knows if your application is actually running more than 1 hour, maybe creating the problem. So that is the reason this type of test is actually available, which is actually endurance test or soak test. So traditionally, again, some 5 years, 10 years before, if you are going, those days, people used to test for 24 hours, 16 hours, 8 hours, like that. People used to test those days. But now we are working in agile model, DevOps model, and we don't have sufficient time to do this much of a detailed test and all. So that is the reason nowadays people are doing endurance test for 4 hours. Okay, 4 hours they are doing. Actually, you are supposed to do longer run only, but because of test data issue, because of environment availability issue, because of certain other factors, people are now doing the test for 4 hours. Okay, max of 4 hours. Okay, so the load condition is actually same only. Okay, X load condition only you are going to do the test. Duration may be 4 hours. Duration 4 hours. Okay, it's up to the organization decision. But now people are generally going with 4 hour test only. But if your organization is demanding to do little longer run, no other go, you need to do the execution. Okay. So why I am saying like this type of test is actually important. So if I look at the memory graph, okay, if I look at the memory graph, say like my available memory is actually starting like this, like this. It is actually going exactly by 1 hour. Exactly by 1 hour, if I am stopping the test. Exactly by 1 hour, if I am stopping the test. And say like I am not, I forgot to monitor the infrastructure. I forgot to monitor the infrastructure. I completed 1 hour of a test. Okay. I completed 1 hour of a test and I am sharing my report to the stakeholder. My application is actually working good. My application is actually working good. But if you look at the graph, if you look at the memory graph right now, 1 hour itself, it is actually almost reaching towards the end of it. If you are running the test for another 30 minutes itself, it will touch the what? Out of memory error. It will touch the out of memory OOM. out of memory error will come if you are running the test for little above 1 hour itself. So that is the reason we wanted to make sure our application is actually working good without having any trouble. We are going to do endurance or soak test. That is going to run the test for longer period of time to check the memory leak. So usually what people will do when we are doing the endurance test, they will monitor the resource graphs, your CPU graph, memory graph and all, they'll monitor it. And they'll literally monitor the memory pattern because they wanted to understand, since because we are running the test for longer period of time, is there any memory related issue is actually our memory pattern, the pattern that they are observing, right? Is there anything abnormal pattern is actually observed or what? They'll check it. For that reason only we are doing the endurance test or soak test. In this definition also, the keyword is checking the memory leak. Checking the memory leak is the keyword. Okay. Say why I am telling in each of the definition the keyword is that you don't really require to explain anything to the interviewer. This keyword will tell you how strong knowledge that you are having it in this topic. That is the reason I'm telling. Please make a note of it, and during your interview, if somebody is asking definition of each of the test, you can explain them. And even if you are telling them endurance test, we usually test it with X user and then testing it for 4 hours or 8 hours. That is showing that you did it already or you have a earlier experience in these type of tests. That's the reason we are discussing in a detailed way. Make sure when you are explaining in this depth of information. Any question, guys, till now?
Sarvana, I have a question. Can you open that paint which you have shown for memory thing?
Yeah,
So usually when we see the memory leak, okay, it should be in the upward trend, right? It is in the downward trend.
No, it is about what graph that you are monitoring. What I mentioned is actually available memory graph. Available memory will reduce.
Okay. So when we take heap metaspace graph, usually the trend will be in the upward direction. Am I right?
That's what. That's what. Yeah. So
Okay.
you are talking about consumption
Yes.
in
I'm
the
talking
upward
about
direction.
like upward direction. Okay, I'm
Yeah, yeah,
talking about GC graph specifically.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one question, as you said, the memory leaks, right? So as an example, once we take on-prem servers, okay. For example, I have some 4 to 5 web application servers. Okay. So each application server has some code configured. Okay. So it will be running. So is it possible if any memory leak is happening, is it possible to identify like from which application server the memory leak is happening?
Ultimately, we have to monitor all the servers only, right? That is
Yes,
how
yes.
you are. Yeah.
That's no,
Hmm.
no. I haven't came across this scenario, so generically I'm asking.
Okay.
It may be a hypothetical question. So, like for 4 to 5 application servers I'm having, like I have seen heap metaspace graph that an upward trend is observed. Okay, the GC engine is not getting invoked properly, and we are about to get a memory leak. Okay, is it possible to identify from which application server the memory leak is happening?
Yeah, so when you have tools like APM tools that are installed, so obviously you're going to get all the graphs, all memory graphs that are going to be available with irrespective of on which host it is actually deployed. Okay, so with that, if you are say like you are monitoring 5 servers, in that which server is actually having the memory consumption is actually kind of reducing or increasing. I mean, in your case, it's actually a different graph. Accordingly, we can go and deep dive into that graph. We can easily identify that. Okay, so if it is a microservices based application, you can understand like on that particular server what service is actually running, and based on that we can take a call. Okay.
Okay. This is regarding on-prem. So when we take any cloud applications, okay, usually is it possible to configure in APM tools with cloud applications?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. So when we compare the architecture of cloud-based applications and on-prem, it is different, definitely. So if you are going to run an endurance test on any cloud-based application, for example, Azure, okay. So how can we see that? Like in which area we can see that graphs as we are discussing about that?
Under the host monitoring, that is one place. Another place
Okay.
is your cloud monitoring itself is actually having separate tabs. AWS, Azure, all those have separate tabs. Okay, so in cloud, it will be little tricky because if your auto scaling is actually enabled, okay, then the moment when the problem is actually hitting, straight away the scaling will happen. So that the briefing or the time at which the issue is actually experienced, right, that will be very minimum in the case of cloud-based infrastructure, because in static on-prem infrastructure only you can see a pattern and all over the period that is actually stayed for some time, and then you were able to observe kind of. But in the cloud-based infrastructure, it will be probably for a brief period of time, and quickly the scaling will work, and then you cannot find it. But at least the pattern will show you. The pattern will help you to understand how your infrastructure memory consumption is actually there. That you can monitor it, but you need to increase your granularity of your scale, so that you can little more detailed way you can observe it. If you are getting a pattern of 1 day or 1 week kind of a pattern, sometimes you will not even understand what's happening in the server. But when you go to a little granular level graph, you can easily pinpoint that.
Sure, sir. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. So for the benefit of others, this is something a good exercise when we do infrastructure monitoring. I'm not sure how many already aware of it, or those who are right now doing also. In industry, that is actually lacking in many organizations, or many performance testers they are not doing, which is a very important space. But because of skills, or because of the ownership, they are not doing. Even a 4-year experienced performance tester, or 8-year experienced performance tester, those who are attending interview with me, if I'm asking any question related to infrastructure, people are saying, no, I don't know, I don't have access, or there is a separate team available to do that. Kind of a reply only people are giving. But my humble request is that at least you should know what is happening in the infrastructure side, and you should know how to monitor your basic graphs, so that you can explain the problem in a better way. You cannot simply say performance testing tool result alone is actually will give you clear picture. No, performance testing tool will give you picture, but ultimately you need to consolidate other informations like your infrastructure level data, your heap data, thread data, garbage data, or your query data. Like that, you need to consolidate little more information also. Then only you can give a concrete information to your stakeholder. Simple performance testing tool numbers will not help you in certain cases. Okay, certain cases it will help, but not always. It's good that if you have practice of doing infrastructure monitoring and other stuff, will help you. Okay, probably in our case we are not going to do much of it, but other tools, if you are learning, say this Dynatrace, AppDynamics and all, will help you to grow your knowledge on infrastructure monitoring side as well. Okay, yeah, coming back. So endurance test is also an important test. It is required to do, but I'll put a disclaimer here also. In industry right now, because of the timeline pressure, or because of the skill set, many performance tester, they are not even telling there is a test type available called endurance test to the customer, because we are the one who is proposing the test types and all, right? Many times performance tester, they are not even proposing this type of test to the customer. But I request, if your timeline permits, please do this type of testing also, so that you will try to avoid more of production outages. In real time, since because we are not doing all these type of tests only, we are getting frequent production outages. To avoid such and such outage, it's good that you cover maximum possible test types. Okay, so that your life will be little easy. If you are getting frequent outages, then people will come and ask you, boss, you are doing test, and after that also we are getting outages. Then what is the point you are doing test? We don't want your test type at all. Like that people will say. So in order to avoid such and such issues and confusions, make sure you are trying to cover at least 2 to 3 type of test, so that you are trying to avoid many issues in the production. Okay. So the next type of test, Okay, scalability test. Scalability test. Okay, so what is scalability test? Test the application with future load in the using current infrastructure. Okay, test the application with future load using current infrastructure. What is that meaning? Say like my application, currently my application is actually used by 500 users. 500 user, currently my application, the end users are using. But I'm expecting next year 1500 people will use my application. Okay, right now 500. Next year I'm expecting 1500 people will come to my application. So I wanted to test my application with the future load. What is that future load? 1500 user load. 1500 user load. But the infrastructure is what? Current infrastructure itself. Whatever I'm right now having, right? That infrastructure itself I'm going to use it, but I'm going to test with the future load. That 1500 user load condition, I'm going to test it. That is actually called as scalability test. Scalability means what? Whether my application is actually able to scale up to that user load. Scale. Okay, future load condition, my application is actually working or what? That is a scalability test. Okay, so scalability test means what? Future load condition for 1 hour. Duration is actually 1 hour. Duration is actually 1 hour. That is a scalability test. Okay. And then volume test.
Sarvana,
All,
sorry for stopping you. Shall I
yeah,
ask a question over here?
please.
So here we said that our load is 500, okay, and our future load is 1500, okay. So it is nothing but 3 times of current load, right? So it becomes a stress test, right? So what makes
Yeah.
a difference between stress and scalability?
All the way, usually this confusion will come with everybody. Okay, stress
Okay.
testing and scalability testing. Okay, that is the reason both test nobody will do it. Stress testing and scalability test nobody will do it. Either those who are doing stress test they will not do scalability. Those who are doing scalability they will not do stress. And one more thing also, in this case maybe the example that I quoted is actually matching with your 2x 3x, but future load can be anything. Future load can be of any number, which may be not coming under the 3x load of the stress also.
Okay.
Okay, so that condition is also possible. And when we propose the test types also, anyways, we are not going to do all these type of tests. In that case, either you propose scalability or you propose stress testing also. Fine. But in here we are discussing about all type of tests and how or what way we are doing the execution, Praveen. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Volume test. Okay. So you are going to database interaction. Okay, this is the so you are going to identify a scenario business flow, where you are going to have more of database interactions. That is where you are going to do volume testing. Volume testing, when you are going to do, you are going to identify or test a scenario. That scenario is actually having more of a database interaction. Okay, insert, update, delete, select. That more volume of more data interaction, load intensive, data intensive scenario that you are doing, that time only you are going to prefer to do volume testing. Other than that, volume testing is not required. Okay, sometimes people will say, I'm changing my database, I'm changing my database version, I'm testing with large data volume, kind of a word when people are using, which means you are going to identify a scenario, a particular activity that you are doing. Through that activity, you are going to do database interactions a lot. lot of select queries, lot of insert, update, delete kind of a queries that you are doing, that is where you are going to do volume test. So under a normal scenario, there is no point in doing volume testing, where your intention itself to check the data interactions with the database. Since because we are doing more interaction with the database, whether the degradation happening or what, that level of scenario comes means you are going to do volume test. Okay. So in that case, what will you do? You will identify a scenario which is having more database interaction, and you are going to run the test for 1 hour. Sorry. Okay. So that is here also database interaction is actually more of database interaction is actually the keyword. Okay. So usually these are the type of test we do: load test, peak load test, stress test, endurance test, scalability test, volume test, like that. But there are organizations, they are doing they are calling one more type of test also called high availability test. Okay, high availability test or failover test. Failover test, high availability test, or this is not something that we are doing, guys. Please understand. Example, you have four machines that are connected in load balancer. Four machines that are connected in load balancer. Suddenly, the network engineer, or not the network engineer, even the infrastructure management team, they are failing one particular node. They are failing one particular node, whether the load is actually still going to the other three machines or what. That is actually failover test or high availability test. Okay, what is that meaning? If one machine failed also, whether the load is actually distributed to other machines or what, that is what you are going to validate it in the failover test or high availability test. So here, our only role is what? Run the test, that's all. We are not going to specifically do anything. We are going to run the test. Rest of the activities are performed by whom? Infrastructure team. Infrastructure team only will fail the node and then they will validate it. For our activities, nothing. We are going to run the test. The test will keep on going to the main URL. The main load balancer URL will divide the load to the different servers. One server is actually failed also, still the load is actually going to the remaining server or what, like that people are checking. Actually saying many organizations they are not doing, but during interview certain times people are asking what is high availability test or what is failover test, like that. So that is the reason I mentioned this. Other than that, the rest of the types like load, peak load, stress, endurance, scalability, volume, these are the types people are regularly using. But this high availability or failover test and all, during interview time alone people are asking this. Actually the bad and sad part is that most of the time the interviewer, they are asking what they are not using in the application. That is what the trend now. The trend is what they are not using the application only they are asking in interviews. I experienced many times. Actually in interview what you are supposed to do, you need to ask what you need to do. But nowadays people are doing the other way. They are asking what they are not doing. They are simply asking some interview questions from internet or some question which will never ever you will use it in your real time. That is what they are using. So kind of a question only, this question also. This high availability test and failover test and all, I don't think in real time everybody using it or what. No, but they are asking during the interview. Any question guys till now?
So it is same as the chaos testing, right? Failover testing.
Chaos is the latest buzzword everybody is using. Yes. Chaos as such, okay, I'll tell you chaos engineering. As such, what people are doing, known fault they are penetrating and they are validating your application, how good it is actually working. Okay. Maybe the high availability test, I told you one node we are failing and then we are checking, right? In chaos engineering aspect, apart from failing a node, there are n number of other tests is also available. I hope you are aware of it. One is injecting a fault code, okay, or checking other aspects of your application by doing some node failure or your CPU failure, memory failure, like that. A lot of different type of tests is available in chaos. But in case of this failover and this high availability test, I'm talking about traditional approach. Traditionally, people used to fail one node, making sure the load is actually distributed to other node. That was the test. Clear?
Yeah.
But chaos engineering, now people are doing n number of tests and all, fault injection or other variety of tests that they are validating. Okay. For that, they are using different tools also. Chaos Monkey, Chaos Studio, like that. There are different Gremlin. There are tools are also there, right? So they are using those tools for doing that test. Chaos engineering. Okay. Yeah. Any other question, guys? Yeah. So this type of test, why we covered specifically, many questions people will ask. They wanted to check you have fair understanding about performance testing concepts and whether you did this type of test before or what. So that with that itself, they will quickly sense it that you have a knowledge if you are properly answering with the way that I explained, right? In that way, if you are explaining, people will have initial understanding that you have fair understanding about performance testing.
Sarvana, I want to know about one testing. Like what is meant by resiliency testing? Hello, am I audible? Hello.
You are audible.
Yeah, thanks.
Hello.
Yeah, Sarvana.
Yeah. Sorry, Praveen. Sorry. Ask your question.
Yeah. What is meant by resiliency testing? Like nowadays, I'm listening
Sa-
this testing a lot.
Same thing. Maybe again it is failover. Again it is same thing only. Resiliency testing is also same thing.
Okay.
Failover, high availability, resiliency. Both.
Okay.
Resiliency means what? I mean, literal meaning I'll tell you. How quickly you are able to recover back from the problem. That is the
Okay.
resiliency.
Resiliency.
Again, it is actually same thing. Whatever we
Okay.
are discussing, right? Same thing.
So resiliency and recoverability testing both are same. That's what you meant, right?
Everything. Yeah. So it is like each place they are using different terms and terminology, but end of the day, the activity that they are performing is actually common. Okay. What about others, guys? I mean, I'm not specifically calling out your name and asking, but if you feel whatever we are discussing, you need more clarity, please ask your question. I understand we are clear. That is the reason, no question. That's so. Nagma, you are about to say something? Okay, not a problem. So, guys, actually, today is the last evaluation day or demo day, whatever you call that as. But we already started. We are going through the journey. But for the learners who joined today, for them, I'm telling, today is the last evaluation day. From tomorrow onwards, I think only the enrolled learners will be part of the group. And we probably our team will change the link also from tomorrow. So those who wanted to have your continuous learning without missing any important topic that we are discussing, please reach out to Kumar sir. Actually, I'll copy paste the course content link in the chat once. All information available in this link itself. Here is the mobile number. This is the mobile number. I'll copy paste Kumar sir number in the chat as well. This is Kumar sir number. Okay. So 9133190573. So that is the number. So you can reach out to Kumar sir. Anything related to fees, anything related to course timing, course content, anything that you feel like you wanted to have a additional discussion, please reach out to Kumar sir. Kumar sir will guide you on how to manage it. Sometimes it may be a timing issue, sometimes it may be a fees issue, whatever. Okay, so please reach out to Kumar sir for further information. This is actually a 35 plus hours of session, 3-5, and this is the timeline, time slot, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST, and correspondingly in other location timing also. You can check that in the website itself. And all artifacts we will share it in the Google Drive, and we will record daily session, and we'll share the video in the YouTube playlist URL. These videos you are going to have it for lifetime access. You can watch it and then you can learn it, or you can come back with your question, whatever. Okay, so today is the last evaluation day. Please enroll yourself for continuation of your learning. From tomorrow, I think a new link they'll share for the enrolled learners.
Sarvana, before concluding, I have a question.
Yeah, Praveen.
Yeah, I know it's too early. As we are talking about memory leaks, okay, like there are different types of GCs, right? Garbage collections, like GC1, mark sweep, compact mark sweep. Can we have a small discussion upon that, like how each algorithm works?
You want one explanation for that itself? Yeah, sure.
Yes, yes.
We'll do that. See, for the benefit of others, I usually take performance engineering sessions also.
Mhm.
So actually, in that, this topic is actually extensively or detailed way we cover usually. But since because you are asking, yes, we will cover. But remain me, okay? Remain me that on a fine day, so that we will explain that as well, Praveen. Okay?
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
sir.
sure. Yeah, sure. Thanks for the learners who joined today for evaluating us. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.